And welcome to Hysteria, the podcast that is frankly tired of the discourse around baby, it's cold outside. I'm tired of it. I don't
it's the same every year. It's not new.
It is the same. It's the same song. It's the same discourse. And honestly, I feel like with this Gen Z Columbus generation, maybe do a little research. Do a little research before you engage in discourse that has been happening for decades.
Very long time.
Very long time. Okay. We are doing a very special podcast this week. It is Thanksgiving. We are not recording on the day before Thanksgiving, though. We are making an extra special episode for you because we care about you so much. And we know that little sanity corners are incredibly necessary during these troubling times. So today we're going to leave all of our anxieties at the door and bask in the holiday with our dear Hysteria community and answer your listener questions. And the third voice you're going to hear is our producer, Caroline. You can't see this, but Caroline is wrapped in a pile of blankets, just an absolute pile of blankets. Caroline will be our question mistress. So, Caroline, go ahead and take it away.
I'm happy you did read that copy of calling me the question mistress.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's so cute.
It is cute.
Okay. And it's 1 degree in this studio, so I'm fucking freezing. Okay. So many great questions. This is a question we get by so many people every single year, so I want to start with it. This one is from Mother of Cats, and it says, for the love of Gaia, how the hell do I, a woman with 2 political science degrees, navigate Thanksgiving with my forever Trump, Newsmax, brainwash in-laws without causing a scene?
Alyssa, you want to start with that one?
I would put music on.
AirPods?
I don't know if you must. Or, I mean, I just think you have to have some sort of non-controversial distraction that keeps things from like just having too much conversation or bringing things too close to the bone. Like, I don't know. That's all I can think of. Also, I mean, if you're down, like an edible can help.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm very lucky that the political debates in my extended family always tended to be about whether or not we were voting for Bernie in the primary. We had a Bernie versus Hillary rupture in the family. So I've never had to deal with that. But I will say you can come up with a list of, you know what, they have like these pre-made conversation starters that have nothing to do with politics. And you can just like have it in your phone and just be like, if you could bring anything to a desert island, what would it be? Like, just go to these incredibly, like, apolitical questions. Another option, and this is something that I do with my 3-year-old when she's throwing a tantrum, and with narcissists, you can gray rock them. If somebody says something that is deliberately meant to poke at you or try to get a reaction because people want to see liberal tears or people want to get, like, a liberal freak out or whatever, just in a total, with no affect, no emotion whatsoever, just be like, okay.
The 1-word answer is a convo killer, and we'll stop it cold.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Stop gray rocking me.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I do it all the time, and I do it to a lot of people, sometimes when I just want the conversation to be over.
Do you know what my conversation ender is?
What?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, you both text me sounds good and okay all the time.
Yeah, but I'm not.
It's not the same, Caroline.
It's
It's not in person.
Yeah, it's if you had come up to me and you were like, you know, Erin, you are doing this, and this, and this, and this, da 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 da, and you were trying to get a reaction from me, I would just be like, okay, like that's gray rocking. You being like, can you meet on Tuesday, and me saying okay, that's not gray rocking.
That's not the same thing.
All right. If you don't get too deep into the themes of Wicked also is just a really great conversation haver for this holiday season. Okay. This question is from Dee711. What's your worst Thanksgiving story?
So I love this question because it's from my lady Dee Dee. She was my deputy in the White House. It's actually funny because I had complained to her the only Thanksgiving I didn't go home to see my parents was on the campaign in 2007, I guess it was. And we decided to stay in Chicago because everything was too busy. And my parents came to Chicago. And it ended up being one of the best Thanksgivings. And Dee Dee came over and she was sitting on the counter with my mother. And my mother's like, Danielle, what is that you're drinking? And she's like, Lydia, it's a mimosa. Don't you know what a mimosa is? And my mom was like, no. And they sat there and had so many mimosas together, and people came and left all day. And I thought it was going to be the worst Thanksgiving, but it was the best Thanksgiving in large part because of Dee Dee. And I love her so much.
Oh, that's really nice. I haven't had any like terrible Thanksgivings. I had a really bad like Christmas one time that ended with my cousin who was a baby tripping and falling and hitting their head on a coffee table and having to go to the emergency room.
Oh, shit. That is bad.
Yeah, that didn't happen to me, but I was like at the gathering where it happened, and everything kind of came to a screeching halt for understandable reasons. Cousin is fine. Everything worked out. But you know what? Nobody wants an ambulance. That's not the kind of flashing red light for Christmas. Nobody likes that. But I did have a Thanksgiving story that is instructive for why you need to make sure that you have tried recipes before you cook them on Thanksgiving. You can't cook a recipe for the first time on Thanksgiving. So I am a huge fan of this blog called Smitten Kitchen.
I love Smitten Kitchen.
Everyone loves Smitten Kitchen. It's a blog. Deb Perlman is the author of it, and she has a bunch of cookbooks. I love it because all of her recipes work. There's a lot of food book authors and bloggers where their recipes don't really work. Deb's do. They're always so good. She had a recipe for, I believe, like stuffed onions that had like stuffing in them. So like they're super, super cute. They're just like hollowed out onions, and then you take the like a part of the hollowed out onion stuff and you incorporate that into the stuffing, and then you put the stuffing in and you bake it in the onion, and everybody gets a little onion on their plate, and it's really, really cute.
That would blow my gut into a million pieces.
I feel like onion recipes are really blown up.
It sounds delicious.
Yeah, well, onions they keep really well. I feel like I listened to a podcast where someone was talking about how much food in colonial America was made with like onions, because you can just throw them in the cellar and they don't go bad. Anyway, so I was like, this is so cute. I'm going to do this for a Friendsgiving full of friends that I really wanted to impress. And so I was like hollowing out the onions, and boy, the onion.
That's so hard.
The cloud of onion essence. And it was like I was in a tear gas filled kitchen. My face completely. You need to have a strategy. You need to have a strategy. Like I've done it since. Like the recipe turned out really good, but my face was no bueno.
I feel like cutting onions with sunglasses on is pretty funny.
Yeah, you could do that. I think chewing gum. There's like other ways to mitigate.
So Terry Gross on Fresh Air has an amazing episode on onions, and it's worth a listen for everybody. Listen to it while you make your turkey. It is all of these things. It's perfect.
Amazing. So just moral of the story is make sure you know what you're dealing with so you don't fill your kitchen with an onion cloud before Thanksgiving.
Okay, here's another question. This person's anonymous. What is your favorite holiday cocktail? Recipe, please.
Ooh, Trader Joe's has this like spiced cider.
It's so good.
It is so good. Just put some of that in a pan, heat it up, and like put some bourbon in it.
And then it can be a cocktail or a mocktail.
Yeah, you can throw You can throw a cinnamon stick in there if you want to. You can throw an orange peel in there, whatever you want to do. But the spiced cider is like so good on its own. You barely have to add anything to it. And you can just drink it hot and it's fine.
I love a Key Royale. I like what?
I love a Key Royale.
I thought that you want to know, hey, you know how I know you like a Key Royale? Because Caroline, I remember that you like to have the stuffing in your mouth with the champagne at the same time on Thanksgiving.
I do.
I know,
but it's
you
specific
do.
champagne.
I know, but I'm just saying I want credit for that memory.
No, that's a good memory. Thanks for remembering my disgusting.
Little bit of cassis, and I would tell anyone who's making a Key Royale, you need a little lemon zest. Makes it all the difference.
Oh my God, that's so funny. You know what? I think that the holidays are also great for a mocktail. You mentioned it, but like a lot of this stuff just tastes good without like it doesn't. It's not like a martini or like a margarita where without the alcohol, it's like, well, this doesn't taste right.
Why would I drink this?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, they're great without.
What is a martini without the alcohol?
Just air,
olives.
I saw somewhere, and I'm sorry, this is the most millennial thing for me to say, that martini is just a shot for someone in their 30s. And I was like,
it has olive juice in it. I drink it when I have one.
And I love them, but
it's just, you just have to have it really, really dirty so that you can't drink it fast. You just like drink it really slow, and it's very salty. It's delicious.
It's so good. I love martini. TG Mosh asks, mac and cheese? Yes or no?
Who are you talking to, Ms. or Mr. Mosh? Of course, it's a yes. Of course. I have a, I can, you're talking to a mac and cheese wizard. And I like, okay.
You too?
I've made cacio.
How did we not know that we were mac and cheese co-wizards?
I would have guessed that about you, Alyssa. I love a classic mac and cheese that has like a little bit of a breadcrumb like crust on top that you bake and like with a bechamel and all of that. I love that. I love a gooey mac and cheese. I love a stovetop mac and cheese. I've also done a cacio e pepe mac and cheese.
I remember when you did that.
Yeah, and it turned out really good. I had to like improvise the flavors and like play around with it and get it right, but it turned out great. Mac and cheese is amazing. You can do so many things with it. You can put bacon in it if you like bacon. You could just
I put ham in mine.
Amazing. How is that your standard if you bring mac and cheese to a function?
So my standard is elbow macaroni. You start with a bechamel. You add Velveeta. I don't want to hear anything about it. It makes it creamy. Then cheddar. I do a little dry mustard, a little Worcestershire, a little sherry. And then you just like dot, and maybe a little Tabasco, just a little bit for a little edge. And then I cube up some ham. And I bake it. It's
the dry
so
mustard
good.
is key, weirdly.
It is. It makes all the difference because you want it to be like, it's kind of like mac and cheese, and I don't know the word, but it has its own version of cloying, but in richness. And there's something about like the Worcestershire and sherry that kind of cuts it a little bit.
Yeah, and it sharpens the cheese. It's like salt on caramel almost, where like it makes the taste better. Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely mac and cheese.
Love mac and cheese.
There's no place for mac and cheese at my dining table.
Oh, we don't. Okay, to be fair, we do not have it at Thanksgiving.
Well,
but I love it in general.
Oh,
yeah,
you
I know, but I
absolutely have it at Thanksgiving.
I just wanted to. Yeah, I know, but I just wanted to join in. Okay, I'm remote, and I wanted to be included, and so
the question was directed at both of you.
If there are children, if there are children at the Thanksgiving, you're gonna want mac and cheese.
They can't enjoy a mashed potato.
I mean, they should eat more than one.
Well, wait, Caroline, do you have mashed potato and sweet potato or just mashed potato?
Someone always brings a sweet potato, and I'm like, why would you bring this?
We do it so bad in America.
A sweet potato?
I bring sweet potatoes.
You can do a savory sweet potato. You can do a savory sweet potato with
miso,
cayenne and cumin.
And tahini.
Ooh, yeah. You can do a cumin and cayenne. You can do like a hash brown sweet potato, but like with the flavors that you would use in like Latin American cooking. And it tastes really good. But anyway, we're digressing.
Okay, here's our last Thanksgiving question before we pivot to others. Pancake Paladin asks, I know Thanksgiving is for pumpkin pie, but I am team apple pie for life. What's the best fall dessert when hosting?
I would actually say like an apple crumble.
I was going to say the same thing.
Right?
Apple crumble.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy. But there's also a cobbler, like a peach
cobbler. Either one.
Because a cobbler is so impressive and it requires so little.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just like throw everything in there and then you put it in the oven and it comes out and it's just like
it's like
beautiful.
Smells so good and you can have it with ice cream or without. So many options.
Yeah, I would say an apple crumble or I would even do like a cobbler, or if you want to be fancy, the New York Times website has this plum tart recipe. Have you tried it? It's so good and it's really like foolproof and it's so pretty and you just like feel like you're just Martha Stewart when you bring it to a function. It's really good.
Plums feel just like a very chic fruit.
Yeah.
Don't they like, I got a plum pie. Like,
You're like, excuse you, fancy.
I don't have that peasant apple. I got plum.
My grandpa's favorite pie was, bless his soul, was sour cream and raisin. It's a real pie. Claire is having a visceral reaction.
That reminds me of Rachel's Green's English trifle in Friends.
Yeah.
That she made with meat?
That she made with meat. That was like half shepherd's pie, half English trifle. Sour cream and raisins?
Sour cream and raisin pie is a real thing. I think it's like Swedish.
Here's my question. Are the raisins rehydrated?
I don't know because I never was brave enough to try it. But every time when I would travel with them, because I would sometimes go on trips with my grandparents, we would stop at like a roadside diner And there was this one diner in Harmony, Minnesota, which is an Amish town, that had sour cream and raisin pie. And it didn't matter how hungry we were or were not, we would always stop there because my grandpa wanted a piece of the pie.
Oh, wait, this looks delicious. You know, I looked the recipe up while we were sitting here.
You got to try to make it. Tell me
I
if
think
it's
I will.
good.
It actually looks good. It's a custard that has sour cream in it, so it's not like straight sour cream. And it does appear that the raisins have been rehydrated.
Okay.
Just FYI.
I feel like that's autumnal as well.
Yeah, this looks good.
Are you guys fake tree or real tree people?
Fake.
I have a fake tree.
I
I have 3 fake trees.
shocked at the amount of people with fake trees. I'm like, what?
I grew up with real trees. Like my
Me
dad
too.
would literally go into we had a spruce swamp on our land.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and so he'd go into the
Swamp?
Yeah, spruce trees like swampy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he would go into the spruce swamp and find one, chop it down, and then just like bring it back to the house. And it was nice. It made the house smell good. But as an adult, I've had one real tree, and it was in an apartment in Brooklyn, and like getting it out, it was just it was so messy. It was like,
And also cats and real trees is like a no.
yeah, they're like the cats were always drinking out of the water thing, and
Shrummy always had all this sap on his back by the end of the holiday.
Oh,
But I mean, I support a real tree. I just think
100%.
I think that the upside is not matched in degree by the downside of it.
all right. Interesting. So here are some more general questions for you both. Matt asks, what kind of gifts do you suggest for friends and family who are upset about the outcome of the election to help distract them from being too consumed by the news? Money.
Well, I would say there's a few things. It depends on what kind of person you're dealing with. On our last week's episode of Hysteria, we talked about doomsday prepping and like giving somebody a disaster preparedness kit. Honestly, if they are that sort of person, might be a nice gift if they would appreciate it, like a little backpack with all the things they need and a first aid kit and stuff they can just throw in their car. If they're not a paranoid person, I really like giving experiences instead of like things. Like I've given people like gift certificates to like airplane tickets before, so they can come,
Cooking class.
go on a trip. A cooking class is a good one. A crafting class.
Yes.
Like if you live in a major city, pottery. Self-defense. Where I used to live in New York, there was like a carpentry school that you could give people gift certificates to, and they could take like a basic carpentry class. So I mean, stuff like that I think is a good
Distractions.
Yeah.
Things that are just nice to immerse yourself in and leave your phone in the cubby.
yes, totally.
Okay, this next question is for Alyssa. Alyssa, how have you navigated friendships as your friends have had kids? Has it felt isolating at times or difficult? Any tips for creating community?
It has not been that isolating. I think that you have to just realize where people are. I think that I've always been a little hypersensitive of being like, so-and-so just came home with their new baby. I shouldn't be like, OMG, with like something dumb. But then sometimes I also just ask and I'm like, what's your level of engagement right now? Like, are you home and very tired but bored and you want me to text you dumb shit? Or are you so tired that you're like, Alyssa, don't send me this dumb shit. I'm thinking less of you because you're not understanding how bored and how tired I am. So I tend to try to be like as open as I can and see what people want. And I'm also pretty good with babies. So I'm like pretty happy to come over and clean your house for you, and just like be able to hang out and see your face and be like, hey, we're here. Like whatever you want to talk about is fine with me, because I've been around it enough that none of it like I'm interested in it. I think that's the difference. I think there are people maybe who don't have kids that aren't remotely interested in the experience or the person after they have the baby. And like, I am. So I think if you're interested, ask questions and like read some stuff so you can ask your friend questions so they don't have to feel like they're talking about themselves the whole time,
Good advice. Thanks for Erin.
Thanks, Caroline.
It's really just a question for me because literally all my friends are pregnant and having their second babies now. Okay, Erin. Alessandra asks, what's one thing a new mom would super appreciate during the holidays?
Okay, so it depends on how new. I would say here's the thing. If you look at people's baby registries, a lot of times it's all stuff for the baby. And people forget that the mom like needs stuff. And actually in the days and weeks after giving birth, the mom needs a lot more stuff than the baby does. The baby doesn't need a play gym. The baby just kind of like lays there. But the mom is like healing from a major medical event, whether it was surgical or just a regular birth. Like there's a lot of healing that goes on. And also her hormones are going crazy. I think in the first week after giving birth, you experience a bigger hormone variance than you do in all of puberty. Like it's literally like,
wow.
Yeah, it is like the biggest change that any type of person goes out. It's like matrescence, it's called. It's crazy. And so as a new mom, you're in a really physical, emotional, you're in a very vulnerable place. So anything that can make her feel comfortable and feel normal is super helpful. My favorite thing to give new moms is like fancy pajamas, like for themselves. Fancy pajamas that they would never buy for themselves that are super, super comfortable and like machine washable. So there's they're not giving me money, but there's a type called Eberjay that I really like.
Oh, I love Eberjay.
Yeah, they're so comfy. They're so soft. And the price point is like gift price point, not like I'm going to buy this for myself price point. And so that's like super welcome. Like a really luxe robe, some comfy slippers with like not a hard bottom, but like not slippery on the bottom that she can wear around the house.
Something with treads or grip.
Right, exactly. And actually those are really good for the hospital too, because the socks they give you at the hospital are not sufficient. You don't want to put your bare feet on the hospital ground because that's gross. So like a nice slipper. I think Uggs has some really good ones, actually. Trying to think what else. Anything that makes her feel like herself. And also, if you don't live close by, like a gift certificate for DoorDash or for like Seamless or something like that, or for their favorite local restaurant. If you do live close by, Alyssa had something in her last answer that I was like, oh, yes. If you do live close by and you are somebody who doesn't mind cleaning, holy shit, go over to her house and like do some laundry. Like if you don't mind, like say I'll come over and I can clean or whatever you need me to do. Do you want me to hold the baby so you can shower? Do you want me to clean so you can hold the baby? Like, what do you want me to do? Just go there and be like, I'm at your service. And sometimes that matters way more than just like stuff. But if you live far away, comfortable stuff, pajamas, slippers. If you live close by, in-person service type stuff, I guarantee you would be appreciated. And also, like, if she's somebody who needs space, and you're somebody who is if you're somebody who's like dealing with a really close relative or close friend, you can sort of like help them run interference and like help them keep their peace around them. Like, if it's like a sister who's giving birth and your mom is like being really pushy about visiting and she doesn't want, you can kind of like help navigate that as well. So
you can be the person who's getting the drinks and the food instead of the new mom.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But there's so many things that and they're almost all going to be appreciated always.
That was an incredibly thorough answer with very great call to actions. I found pajamas I want. Okay. Pollinators Band asks, can you both put together your 3-band perfect bill dream concert?
Can they be anybody?
Yeah.
I'm going to say.
Can I guess yours?
Yeah, go ahead and guess mine.
The Grateful Dead, Bruce Springsteen, and U2.
Nope. Damn. Not even close. The Indigo Girls.
Fuck.
Stevie Nicks. And because you asked this question after I watched the trailer for the new movie, I'm going to say I would love a Kenny Loggins, Michael McDonald reunion as part of my lineup because the new Yacht Rock documentary is coming out, which we all need right now. And I was blown away by things. Do you know that Michael McDonald, I think, was the first white man to perform at the Apollo?
Huh.
Anyway, that's my lineup. As you can tell, I am in a place where I am traumatized and I can't have Bruce Springsteen. You too. No, absolutely not to that. Anyway, I
thought I knew you so well.
I need to be surrounded, frankly, by lesbians. That's all I want. That is my safe space right now. That's it.
Okay.
And witches, lesbians and witches. That's what I want.
One and the same.
Okay.
No kidding.
So it's going to be Prince.
Ooh.
Whitney Houston.
Yes.
And either Led Zeppelin or Celine Dion.
Oh my God.
What,
Erin,
what is
I could,
opposite?
I would love your lineup too. I would 100% attend your concerts with you.
Well, because here's the thing. I was just watching videos of Whitney Houston yesterday because I was like, God, she was like the best. She was so good.
Are you on the Bobby and Whitney Instagram? Because I get all the Whitney videos too.
Oh my God. Well, she just was incredible. Just like an incredible vocalist. And there's nothing as like more thrilling to me than seeing somebody who's just like a complete virtuoso, just like slay. Like if I'm in my car, that's not going to be like the 3 or 4 artists that are playing, but like Robert Plant's voice, he is like such a good, I like love his voice.
Does anybody remember Laughter?
And like Celine Dion, like she's an incredible live performer, and Prince was just like the best ever to ever do it ever. And Whitney, like, so Whitney, the Led and Celine, I'm not sure. I would need a little bit more time to like ponder it because we've already got Whitney in the lineup and we might want to like mix it up a little bit. But yeah, Prince for sure and Whitney for sure. Because I would love to have been able to be in a room where she was singing in person.
I agree.
When she was alive.
I agree.
Yeah. Cordy K asks, what are some of your favorite books? Need some for an upcoming trip.
Wow. Okay. What are some of my favorite books? It depends on like what I would recommend different things depending on what kind of a trip you want to take. I always recommend My Sister the Serial Killer. It is a book that takes place in Lagos. It is like a dark humor thriller book, and it came out like 5 or 6 years ago, and it is like one of the most fun, fizzy, not in like, it's not like you don't read it and you think that the writing is like, the writing is like high level. It's really good writing, but it's like a fizzy fun book. I really, really loved it. I really love, this is going to sound really like whatever. I really love this Polish writer named Olga Tokarczuk, and she wrote a book called Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. And
it sounds like a theme.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes, it is about, both of these are about women who did some murdering. Yeah. But Drive Your Plow is incredible. It is like it's a thrilling book about an old lady who lives in the Polish countryside who gets revenge. And Olga Tokarczuk also wrote a book called Flights, which is a little bit more challenging, and it's kind of like an episodic book about like travel and transit. And I read it during the pandemic, and it really stuck with me. If you want to read something that's just going to like rock your face and is very challenging and tricky and dark, I really like Roberto Bolaño's 2666, but that is a dark ass book. It is like about Juarez and crime in Juarez, Mexico. In terms of nonfiction books, for like a world history book, there's a book called The Dawn of Everything. It's like kind of dense, but I really love it. It's written by two anarchists, and it's like an anarchist read.
My list is going to be so ridiculous compared to yours.
It's really, really good. It's like if you love like history and stuff, and then I love, of course, I love the book Eve. We had the author on this podcast several months back. It's so fun. It's like a good science, natural history book. So those are my recommendations. None of them are like super light reads, but I would say My Sister the Serial Killer is.
Don't worry, I've got light reads covered.
That one is like the most fun out of the things, and the least fun is 2666, and everything else kind of falls in the middle.
Okay, so if you're going on a trip and you want a vacation book, one, the Kamigawa Food Detectives is like this great, charming, very anxiety-inducing book about a dad and a daughter who own a diner. It's a Japanese book that was translated into English. They own a diner, and they help people recreate memories by recreating foods that trigger the memories. And so I love that book. Shout out to our Hysteria fave, Katie Couric. Her book Going There, if you haven't read it, is first, it's so well done, but it is juicy and it's dishy, and it's also like a history lesson, and she had like a front row to everything, and I love it. I have read the book. I have listened to it on audiobook. I genuinely enjoy it. And then an oldie but a goodie, Heartburn by Nora Ephron. It was later made into a movie with Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson, and it's about living in Georgetown in like the early 80s, and it is it's great. I really enjoy it. And again, it's like, it's rom-com-y. But I mean, it's not rom-com-y. The movie and the book are not that funny. But it's just like a great kind of take you to another place book from another time. Now that the 80s are another time.
Oh, I have to do 2 more recommendations. One, Luster by Raven Leilani is super fun. That's like, she's such a great writer, and I don't think her second book has come out yet, but Luster came out in like 2020. Fantastic. I just like love her writing so much. It's really fun. And then Confederacy of Dunces.
Oh, I love that book.
One of the funniest, it's like a legitimately funny book, like laugh out loud funny. And the author of the book only wrote that book. So it is really like a great novel.
APR Salem asks, who are your feminist heroes?
My feminist heroes. I think a lot, this is going to sound canned or whatever, but I think a lot about the women in like my family history that had to go through like unimaginable like unpleasantness, and the fact that they like survived and carried on and lived their lives maybe not as like perfect people, and some of them were like kind of crazy, but I understand why. But the fact that they persevered and survived and like didn't give up, and now I'm here, is sort of like, I really wish that there was a way from like I wish I could have known my grandmother when she was like kind of an abandoned little kid that nobody wanted. I wish I could have known my other grandmother when she was like 13 and dropped out of high school because she didn't have a winter coat and she was bullied. I wish I like think about that kind of like small acts of heroism and perseverance by people who just like refuse to let the bastards keep them down, and it makes me sad for them, but also think, if they can get through whatever they got through, then I can get through what I'm going through right now. So that's like on, like on in my life. But I think just on a wider, I gotta say, I think Tori Amos is like
that's a good one.
I think that like the type of the type of emotion that she was willing to express in her music, and the way that she was just kind of unabashedly just out there and really over the top and just authentic to her own experience. I love her, and I'm always going to think of her as kind of like just this maternal presence in my like music taste. And then like, the requisite politicians and like the Ruth Bader Ginsburgs and the Sonia Sotomayors and the, et cetera.
The classics.
The classics.
Okay, so adding a classic, I love Bella Abzug. She is so interesting. And if you have not watched, oh God, Paving the Way, the Geraldine Ferraro documentary, it's also really great and interesting to watch. But I think my favorite, and I don't know if she counts as a feminist, but it's in the Tori Amos bucket. I have been obsessed with Lucille Ball since I was little. I think that she is like, she was such a ball buster. She lived life differently. She was like the first woman to like run a studio in Hollywood. And I think I read one of like some biography that was written about her when I was in like 5th or 6th grade and did a book report on it. And I've seen every show. And I love her. She was different, and she lived life the way she wanted to. And Lucille Ball.
Mm-hmm. God, she was awesome.
Yeah, she really was. And I Love Lucy really stands test of time. So
it's
fucking
so
funny.
Good.
It does,
like,
especially when they moved to Connecticut too.
So good.
Yeah, it really slaps. Mary Tyler Moore also is somebody who was like dealing with a lot, and was still awesome, like top to bottom awesome.
I still listen to the theme song to that show when I'm feeling sad.
Julie Andrews. That's the answer. It's Julie Andrews.
She's great. Do you follow The Sound of Music on Instagram?
No.
You should. It's good.
Final last quick question. This comes from, I don't know how to pronounce this. It's a bunch of letters. Who would be cast to play you in the Hysteria movie?
I feel like Michaela Watkins could play you, Alyssa.
I would.
Oh,
you
that's
know what?
actually a great idea.
Absolutely.
You guys have the same hair too.
Yeah, I feel like your vibes, like obviously she's a very talented actress, performer, and I think she's been around you enough that she could just like, I think she could nail you.
She would. Oh my God. I love that so much. I hope we have a movie.
And everything, sorry, like Michaela's not here to blush and be like, oh, you guys, but everything she's in, she's so good.
Yeah, she's great.
That's
so good.
Do you know who'd play you?
Who?
Aubrey Plaza.
Really?
That's a good unconventional one. That makes so much sense.
I felt like when I watched season 2, the White Lotus season that she was on, that she was like, there are a couple moments where I was like, she's acting like exactly like how
She
I
had
would act.
very you energy.
Yeah.
See?
Well, not all of it.
It made me
obviously, but-
there are certain points where I was like, it made me a little uncomfortable, where I was like, did she, like, is it, anyway.
See? Look how we get each other. We couldn't have cast ourselves, but we casted each other.
Yeah, we did it. We got so many good questions this time.
This was joyous.
Hysteria@crooked.com. If anything did not get answered, you would love to hear from us. We're probably going to do more mailbag episodes in the near future. Alyssa, thank you for being my ride or die this week and every week. Caroline, thank you for being the question mistress.
So happy to do it.
There will be more Hysteria for you next week.